Yes, everyone, what's going on? This is This Week at United. Welcome to all the newbies in the Patreon group. Didn't do one last week because I was waiting on a little bit of news. The news that I was waiting on confirmation of didn't really come off. I was doing a lot of chatting to the under-18 side, and I'm trying to get a bit of information about what's going on with the managerial situation at 18s and 23s, and some of the under-18s particular views on certain managers. I was trying to get a little bit of confirmation on that. Wasn't able to get anyone to sort of clarify the sort of things I was after. But listen, that's absolute fucking small fry compared to the news that I've managed to get my hands on today. So massive changes in terms of transfers going out. In terms of transfers coming in, there's some ridiculous names. And there's also some surprises going on the tour, but I don't know if they should be a surprise. So the tour, we're looking at Chong, Angel, they're on the plane, Ethan Hamilton, Callum Gribbin, Roshan, those lads are on the plane. They're going to be going to the tour in America, which we shouldn't really be shocked at because United have to plan for, you know, as many of their players going to the World Cup final as possible. The tour starts like 3 days after the World Cup final. So United are going to want to have the maximum amount of people travelling, aren't they? So ideally, United want everyone to get knocked out of the World Cup nice and early. The players that are there for the internationals and the ones that aren't going internationals, they want them on the plane. So to fill up the tour squad and obviously give some youngsters some experience, you also want to get the youngsters in there and fill up those spaces just in case the worst happens and whichever national team has got the most United players or potential injuries and all that kind of stuff doesn't affect your plans for being able to go and put good training sessions on, a good camp, and also fulfill the fixtures that you need to fulfill. So there's a name that I haven't mentioned and I can't mention just yet. Feel free to speculate, but I can't mention which name I have been told is going to be joining the tour squad, and it's a shock. Shouldn't be a shock, but it's a shock. That's all I'm going to say on it. I will get that information confirmed before the tour leaves, before the tour squad is announced, and I've been told I can give that as an exclusive when it is due to be released, but I can't do it yet. So it's exciting. Right, let's talk transfers. So there might be as many 10 players leaving is the word on the street. Now, we've spoke about most of these already. Almost all of these, actually. I think maybe all of them. So the list of outs is looking at Darmian, Blind, Shaw, Fellaini, Anthony Martial, and we'll talk about him specifically in a second, Carrick and Mata. Ander Herrera, the word is he did want to go. He might not be allowed to go because if all of the midfield options go and the midfield options don't come in, we can't afford to let him go. But he did want to go. Don't know if he still wants to go. Juan Mata looks a certainty to be going, and I think that might play into Ander Herrera's desires as well if he wants to go too. Smalling. We spoke, I think in January, because I'm trying to think about when I was chatting to the guy that was telling me, but in January I was told that Jose is not a fan of Chris Smalling, thinks he's a pussy, thinks he's just not the sort of leader. When you think of Jose Mourinho teams and you think of the leaders that he's had down the line and you think of Chris Smalling, you're not really thinking any of these things, are you? But you can only let him go if we get a replacement. The replacement that he's after is the one that we've been mentioning all along, which is Toby Alderweireld. Not currently injured, desperate to leave Tottenham, desperate wants to come to United. If we can make that happen and we can get a fit Eric Bailly, and we've got Lindelof as a backup, and then we've obviously got Phil Jones, Tuanzebe, Fosu Mensah in the mix as well. I think that's an upgrade on our defence. I really think it is. And I've been impressed with Lindelof recently as well. So Chris Smalling can go if they can find a buyer and if they can find a replacement. So I think that's an interesting one. That's maybe a little bit more out of the blue. In terms of the targets coming in, one's linked to one of the ones going out. So the stuff about Martial and Chelsea in a swap deal for Willian, that's what United want to do. It's not what I want to see happen. But Jose is really keen on that as a deal because this is what doesn't make sense to me. That Jose doesn't think that Martial would be a threat. I think if we kept Marshall in the Premier League, we're going to see it bite us in the arse because he's going to be mint and he's going to have a point to prove and he's going to be in a team that can play football, and that's a fucking problem. Paris Saint-Germain are interested in Tony Marshall, and you'll find out exactly why in a second. But Jose is keen on Willian, which is also tied to why Mata wants to be off. Willian comes in, he will play on the right-hand side. And if he gets rid of Marshall to do it, I think Jose will be quite happy. Now, the way these are all linked is kind of fucked up, to be honest. But Milinkovic-Savic, that's a name that we've heard a lot of. Dave's massive on him. Dave's done some really good videos on him. I like the look of him. Dave really, really likes the look of him. He's done a lot more watching of him than I have. That is ongoing. It seems like United are pretty confident that they're going to get him. I won't say it's a done deal. It's not a done deal until they're standing at Old Trafford, is it, getting the photos took. But it seems like United feel like they've got him. Ryan Sessegnon, an update on that one a little bit. He is our number one left-back target. He is the guy that we really, really want. They're not bothered about his experience in the Championship. They're not bothered about any of that sort of stuff. He is our number one target. The problem is, he's a twin, and he's got all his family around him in London. All the London clubs are in for him. Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, all in for him, and he wants to stay in London. So United really, really want him. Whether or not he can be the first signing, I think money talks, and I think when United call, they usually get what they want. But all the other London clubs are in, and him being a twin and all the rest of that might complicate it a little bit. Now, Alderweireld desperate to come. Savic, United think they've got it done. Sessegnon, he's our number one target, but there's obviously a complication in that deal. Willian, some sort of swap deal. Will Chelsea be willing to let him go unless they get Marshall? Don't know. Here's the fucking crazy one, and I don't want clipping up saying this. The guy that I chat to said to me, "You're gonna laugh, but there's some substance to it, and it's Neymar." And I did laugh, and I'm sure you're laughing now. I can't see it, to be honest, but I can see it, because his dad's a money-grabbing bastard, and he's a player that I think is going to be in that cycle of getting moves regular. He's not settled in Paris. If Ed Woodward's making signings, he's going to be the big summer cherry on top, which I think if we're going to entertain this as a rumour for a minute, what an absolute message that is to send, to say United are trying to get back on track by signing someone of the ilk of Neymar. What does that mean for Anthony Marshall? Assuming that he's not already been shipped off. Paris being a destination he wants to go and a team that's interested in him, and the reason that they're interested in him is because there's a very real possibility Neymar's going to be leaving them. He wants to come to England. I reckon United's the only one that could afford him. City are skint, remember, after what they said about Sanchez. What that means for Sanchez and where he plays, fuck knows. I don't know what it means for a lot of things. I don't even know if I believe it. But the word is that I got this afternoon, 20 minutes ago, is I'm trying to think what the exact words was. Don't dismiss when you hear the Neymar stuff, because there is some substance to it, as in that United want to make it happen. Can we make it happen? And a whole nother ball game, isn't it? Which has fucking pissed me off, to be honest with you, because apart from in this little group, when I see United linked with Neymar, I'm going to absolutely tear it to shreds. Now I can't do that, honestly, can I? When I've heard there might be some substance to it, complicates things. So that's the word on the street for the ins. Willian, Sessegnon, Savic, Alderweireld, Neymar. The outs. Fucking loads of them. I can't imagine all of them could go at the same time. No update on Pogba. And that's it. So, tour could be crazy. Rashford's an interesting one. I know that the link with City was real. City did want to get Marcus Rashford. There's no way Marcus Rashford would play for Manchester City. He's a United fan. There's also the likes of Barcelona and Real Madrid. The links with those saying that they're interested in Marcus Rashford, they're real. They are interested in Marcus Rashford. I can tell you that right now. They are interested in Marcus Rashford. is a United fan. If they sign Neymar, would that make it different? So that's this week at United today. Thanks for your support on Patreon. I am almost through with the poker night video. I can't wait to get it up there. I've been cracking up watching it. I hope you guys find it as entertaining as I found it. It's something just totally different. I thought we was going to sit here and like talk football as we was playing cards, but we just chatted shit and played cards. So I can't wait to upload that for you. We have got a ton of interns starting on the 21st of May. There might be some graphic design ones, but as it stands, I haven't been impressed with anybody that sent in something for the graphic design internship. We've got production assistants, video editors, and some researchers come in to help me and Dave with all of our content throughout the World Cup. But it's all because of the support from you guys, so thank you very much for that. Dave's also got a Patreon as well, so if you're interested, go and check out his. And that will do from me from this week at United. Do me a favour, if you've watched this, comment on the link that I throw out on Twitter. It gets more people interested if you found the information useful, etc. So thanks for your support. I'll see you in a bit.